What's up, everybody? This is DC Richards here with Tony the Tiger, and today we're doing an interview on...
a review. We're doing a review.
A review. My bad.
An interview.
Express Yourself by Madonna. We're going to start with that.
Well, actually, let's explain why we're doing it. A little bit ago, about a week ago, Dave did a review in regards to the top 10 Billboard artist songs, and there was quite a few you didn't like. You said, right?
Yeah, I probably only liked 2 out of the 10.
Yeah, and it's funny because what I told him is I've been talking to some friends of mine and stuff, and we've been talking about how during 1989, before you were born, this was a very big year for songs coming out in the summer. I mean, literally, that summer, well, the whole year in 1989, there were hits upon hits. I mean, everybody had a hit out. We're talking everywhere from Bon Jovi to Def Leppard to Aerosmith.
Well, not just hits, good hits.
Good hits. I mean, memorable stuff that I know everybody.
A wide variety of audience enjoyed.
Yeah, and the amusing thing was we decided to talk, and I chose 5 popular songs that came out during that summer, and we're going to do a little bit of review on them. We chose 5. The first one's going to be Madonna's Express Yourself. The funny thing about this song is I remember it coming out, and I remember it being quite an interesting video because in the movie, Madonna tends to grab herself quite inappropriately, which is amusing. And I remember thinking to myself, even when I was a kid, I must have been about 15 years old when this video came out. I'm like, oh, well, that's not something you see on MTV.
Well, she could get away with it, you know.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
I guess some people call her the queen of pop.
Yeah, back then, absolutely. Well, they still do.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, this song was huge. I like it. It's actually one of my favorite songs of hers. And if you listen to the music in Born This Way by Lady Gaga, it's inspired by this song.
Right.
So play a little bit of it and let's hear it for you so you can hear it. I want to hear your opinion. The scenescape looks like something from Batman. That's what cracks me up about it. This summer, this song came out was this summer Batman came out.
Like the first Batman.
The first, yeah, with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. So this right here looks like something out of a Tim Burton movie. And I don't understand what I mean, I get what she's trying to do here, but just so you know, ladies, women objectified men back then, so that's obviously what's going on here. And this guy here, what's funny is, but you can hear the bass line in that really good. I mean, you want to group to that. That's just something, I mean, you'd be like,
Yeah, we're working on hooking up some better speakers, so bear with us, ladies and gentlemen.
If you don't hear the sound, we'll put it in later. But I mean, anybody's heard this song before, so.
Right.
But I love that they made her like Daddy Warbucks in a rich tower, waiting for a guy to come up there and marry her or something like that. So then we go from that scene to the cat walking around, I guess like Catwoman. We have a guy who like has no purpose in the video. But aside from all this nonsense, this song is, well, the actor, I was going to say, this dude here was actually in a lot of action shows back then. His name was Richard Tyson. And see, now we got her dancing like, this was the beginning of her getting ready to do the Vogue stuff where she was half naked on her stage and whatnot. But the music.
Yeah, see, I like this a lot. I mean, this is definitely one of my favorite artists.
Yeah.
Of all time.
See, and she, I remember liking her stuff from Like a Virgin and all that from the beginning when I was little, but like this was like what I really liked is it got away from the pop, and it was just kind of more like an adult song, and it's a good groove. I mean, that's...
Well, I think when you're a kid, you kind of feel like if your buddies knew that you liked Madonna, then you're sort of like a dork or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't admit to anybody I liked Duran Duran for a long time. Now I don't care.
Same thing with Backstreet Boys.
I know, I'll admit that I like Backstreet Boys. Because they're good, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The problem everybody has is nobody admits that they like these songs. They're all good songs. Right, it doesn't matter who they are. So let's stop that right there. So, you like the jam. It's a good jam, right?
Yeah, so this takes me back of driving to Wyoming, like cruising in between mountains, just this song cranked, and you're just rocking it, and you're driving down the road, and I mean, I'd be speeding my butt off too, you know.
See, now before we had YouTube, which you guys are watching now, we had to record stuff off the TV. So when MTV was playing it, you'd be lucky if you had the VCR ready to record. So that's basically how we got our free music in the day. So that's that. So what are you thinking? So that song, do you think because it was made and written in the time that it was made, do you think that that's kind of what helps make it a good song, or what do you think? What makes it different from today's music, I guess, is the question.
I think she just had a talent for coming up with good songs, good lyrics. That's one thing I wanted to look up, and I did, was who's her co-writer? You know, who are the co-writers? So,
well, I think she wrote this herself, dude. Let me check. I can tell you right now.
So that's another thing, is who's co-writing for the current artists today?
Well, see, that's the thing. A lot of artists now are kind of cranking it out like a machine. I mean, don't get me wrong. Artists have writers back even in the day, but I think that a lot of what's coming out now is just getting cranked out by Ed
And
Sheeran.
to me, that's all right, but still,
it makes all the songs sound the same.
it's okay and it's not. After artists after you come up with a good foundation artistically, you kind of feel like you don't need to write anymore, and some artists will sort of lose that spunk after a while. I mean, I don't listen to a lot of new Madonna stuff. The last one I remember hearing, pardon my French, was the one that's like, I'm Madonna. The one, you know, it's the B word, I'm Madonna. Have you heard that one?
No, I gotta say that one I passed on.
It's pretty cool, yeah. And it's basically, it's kind of like her saying to all the new pop artists,
Yeah.
I'm Madonna,
Well, you know what's funny about that is the last Madonna song that I heard, that I actually kind of dug. I think the only reason I dug it is because it was a copy of a song from ABBA, and I think it was Voulez-Vous or something like that, but she used it on a song called I'm Hung Up. And I just thought, well, that's kind of lame. I mean, it was cool for I liked it for a second, but then when you think about it, what the problem I have with covers really is that sometimes they're good. You can find a really good one, and you can find a bad one. It really kind of depends if you're going to listen to it again, because all they're really kind of doing is capitalizing on the old song. And sometimes the old song is just the classic. Like, I'd rather hear, you know, the old song play.
And I mean, it was definitely fresh. She was doing something,
by the way,
generally new that no woman's kind of ever done before.
Yeah, that's kind of what her thing was. And I think
once something like that's already been done, it's really difficult to step up to the plate and match up to that bar. So she set a certain bar, you know.
Yeah, and that was her thing.
Even for herself nowadays, I'm sure it's hard for her to write stuff that good.
Yeah, you know? Because she's just, well, when you get to that point, you're just going to be writing it the easy way. But the guy that helped her write, his name was Stephen Bray. And Stephen Bray wrote stuff for the Breakfast Club, which is a small band that didn't really stick around, and the Jets, my friend Eddie's band, the Jets.
Yeah, see, everyone knows about Madonna, but they don't know about Stephen Bray, you know.
Yeah, see, and that's the thing. So, yeah, in fact, Stephen wrote a couple of the songs I actually like, or some of the songs that are my favorite songs by the Jets, like Cross My Broken Heart. He actually wrote more songs with Madonna, like Causing a Commotion, Keep It Together. Some of these songs I've really liked.
I don't know if people know this, but out of the 300-something songs that Elvis came up with, he didn't write a single one.
Yeah.
Not one.
Well, okay, so the next one we chose, the reason we're doing this one is because it was Aerosmith. This was their song that was dominating that summer, and I remember hearing it. And just, it's a good song to jam out to. The video was kind of funny because you got everybody dancing around, and the innuendo for the song is just having sex in an elevator. But there's midgets in here. I mean, it's freaking hilarious. I mean, especially the way the video starts. Fashion victim.
Hardware, children's wear, ladies' lingerie. Oh, good morning, Mr. Tyler. Going down.
Yeah. I'm in there. See, now Aerosmith kind of capitalized on the whole late 80s rock coming out of this era. His outfits are terrible, though.
So, Steven Tyler wrote a lot of songs with his guitar player. They would just sit down and riff together.
That's kind of what the dynamic
He would
is.
come up with a riff on the guitar, and then he would try and like sing to it. So it was like two writers.
Yeah, and see, a lot of the artists do that. I love this thing here with the mannequins. That cracks me up. The mannequins are dancing, and then they turn back to life and go back to mannequins later.
I just wish more people could write more better hits, man. Why don't we have stuff like this coming out on the radio nowadays?
So Joe Perry is his guitar player. But watch right there, they turn back into mannequins. 1980 special effects. But see, this song just did, you know, the thing about this song is it was a good, nice rocking song. Now, there were a bunch of rock songs out at the time, but I chose this one because at the time Aerosmith was barely coming back
Is this
into
is
dominance.
80s?
This is late 80s.
Yeah, these are all 89,
But
right?
the funny thing about it,
Or late
89, everything that came out from this is in 89. So
Some people say, well, the 80s was shit, or, well, am I allowed
people
swear
tend
on
to
this
think,
show?
yes, people tend to think, especially people tend to think the 80s is just the pop stuff that came out in the early 80s. But once I'd say 86 came rolling around, you had Bon Jovi coming out, Poison came out, Motley Crue coming out, all the hard rock bands that were coming out about that time, and then of course Def Leppard dominated with Hysteria.
Right,
in
there was a lot
1987.
of great music coming out.
I mean, the later part, the 80s are funny because everybody just remembers the 70s for being a rock and roll time, but the disco was in the 70s too. But then you have bands like Fleetwood Mac, and so you have it was a decade of two types of music. You had the pop and like Duran Duran, and it came out in the beginning, and then when 86 came rolling around, you had the hair bands and heavy metal and hard rock dominating the radio waves, which was good. So it gave diversified. But I remember I had this friend that it was in school, and he used to give me shit all the time because I like Michael Jackson and breakdancing music. And he's like, nobody listens to that. We listen to Iron Maiden now. I'm like, give me a break, man. Even back then I thought that was silly.
The thing I couldn't stand was the hair metal bands. I mean, I liked some of it, but after hearing the same repetitive, that high singing.
Well, see, that's the difference between like AC/DC and.
I just got over it. I mean, AC/DC's great. But
Well, see,
I mean,
and you had Motley Crue that was basically what you're describing there.
But even with AC/DC, after I listened to that for long enough, it's like listening to Axl Rose after long enough. Just that high voice,
But you know what? The great thing about them is, and Guns N' Roses, there's another band that came out,
But it's still undeniable.
Yeah, I mean, they had a niche that worked for them, and it worked, and Aerosmith just happened to get in there. See, the thing that people forget about hair bands.
Well, and he doesn't. Steven Tyler doesn't sing like in that way. He still goes all over the place, which I like. He's more spread out in scale.
See, and the thing that people forget about these bands is Def Leppard wasn't a part of the hair metal band. They actually came out in 79, 80. They were getting to dominance by about 83 with the Pyromania. So they were already around. But then the hair band exploded in 80.
And then they just got thrown.
So they just got in the kind of with Aerosmith. Aerosmith is a 70s band, but then they came back with Permanent Vacation, or not? No, it's not Permanent Vacation. I can't remember what the hell that album's called.
Yeah, they started.
They came out with the album that has "Dude Looks Like a Lady," and once that album came out, we looked that up so I make sure I'm giving the right info. I don't want to be giving the wrong stuff, but Permanent Vacation came out later, but. The album, they did a rap song with Run DMC, which I thought was kind of funny, and I actually really like it a lot better than the original version, which is Sweet Emotion. No, it's not Sweet Emotion. It's Walk This Way. I actually like the Run DMC version with them better.
I mean, nowadays it's a lot more difficult to make it nowadays because there's a lot more artists.
It is Permanent Vacation. I was right. Okay. Great.
There's a lot of factors that come into play on why you don't hear as many good songs on the radio today. There's just a lot of factors to play in.
And I think a lot of things have changed. I was watching the show.
I mean, now the billboards are just off sales, and just because you have a good number on the billboard chart doesn't mean good quality material. It just means people buy your stuff and maybe they know who you are.
And he's bringing up a really good point here, because we didn't have a Gundam style or any of that nonsense.
Right.
I mean, people were legitimately going out. I mean, there were one-hit wonders, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's how you have, Damn Yankees with High Enough. But, I mean, they were good. They were musicians. But Gundam style is just something that, I mean, and the same thing was, what does the Fox say? No, there would never have been anything like that back then.
Yeah.
But then again, we did have Ice Ice Baby, so.
so it's harder for, I think, A&R reps to find great music.
Or something new.
There's more artists. Everything's online now. A lot of stuff's online. You got to submit your stuff and get it out there. And a lot of rock and rollers, sometimes they just want to stick to the old ways. I mean, myself, I stuck to the old ways for a while. Because I still believed I still wanted to believe in the album. And if you play live enough, maybe people will catch on, and that can work too. Playing live's tough, man.
Yeah.
And building a following's hard. And getting people to go to your shows.
Now get 50% off all Domino's pizzas when you order online.
And so, it's not always what you know, it's who you know.
Not doing this. So if you guys want Pizza Hut, there you go. We're trying to get this past the ad here. Hold on.
Domino's, you owe us
some money.
25 cents.
Okay, so he's thinking ahead. He's a businessman. Okay, so on to the next one. We're going to do 5 of these songs. We're doing all different kinds just to make it fair. But we, I chose all these because I remembered them. Because I lived during this time. David didn't, but he's heard a lot of these songs.
I was 87, so...
Yeah. So this song would have came out when he was 2 years old. For me...
But I mean, when I listen to the radio in the car, I switch back to oldies. I find myself switching back to the oldies. I try and give new songs a chance, and I hardly ever find anything that sticks.
Especially something new.
I find myself going back to the oldies channel.
Yeah.
So that's how I end up hearing a lot of 80s.
I think a lot of the reason is because a lot of these guys are having people write their songs because they're touring. That's the priority now, the touring and making money that way. And a lot of, it's hard to write a song. It's not easy. You've written tons of songs, so
Yeah, I'm up to about 105, but I've also thrown away a lot of material. I don't just keep whatever I write. I want to keep the good stuff.
Yeah.
And I've kept some okay songs as well. I don't just throw away everything.
What you find out as being an artist, you become an idea pack rat. Even when I write, it's the same thing. But music is one of those things where it's not easy. That's why I think they're getting people to write their stuff. But it's like without that magic, pulling whatever it was that we as an audience can relate to, you can't. The other thing too is I can't believe that somebody's out there singing to some of these songs and wanting to sing them.
I remember hearing Lithium in Texas when I lived in Texas for the Lithium by Nirvana, and I was floored. I don't feel that way about hardly anything that comes. There might be one or two.
See, and that's the interesting thing now. Now, the one thing about this next band that we're going to play is a band called Roxette. Now, they're out of Sweden. Oddly enough, this song got released by some DJ. I guess he heard this song, and it wasn't really a song they weren't even going to release, which is sad because it's in the middle of an album. But it really kind of, that summer is the summer I started listening to this band, and obviously they went to be what they became, and they're one of the biggest 80s pop bands there is. They have nothing but timeless songs. What I loved about this band is it was great at the time because it was a guy-girl duo singing the songs. But I love that.
Yeah, it's the harmonies and.
But I love how his voice was growly. I love singing these songs. I never have a problem singing these songs. I love them. See what I mean? Video's dumb, but.
Yeah. Some singers will do that on purpose. Some just comes out that way.
It's like you. The funny thing about 80s videos is that you just wonder what the hell was going on when they were thinking about this. I mean, I get the playing. You know what I mean? That's how you sell music. You put a guitar in somebody's hand, it just looks cool. I mean, we both agreed that when we were watching Back to the Future, that's why we started both playing guitar.
Right.
But I mean, Per Gessel, the lead singer of this band, I mean, half the time he's dancing with his guitar. Then he'll be playing.
Not even playing.
Yeah. But I love her voice. Yeah, I heard this song when I was in California, when I was at Disneyland. And I'm like, oh man, they had it on that swing thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, oh man, that's a good jam. I mean,
Yeah.
I love that whole what in the world can make a brown-eyed girl turn blue. I mean, and then that. You know what I mean? And he's just playing it clean with an echo on it. I mean, that's nothing. There it is. It changes to that low tone. You know what I mean? But he's playing a Telecaster. That's what's funny about that. The guitar is a Laris. They don't even sell those anymore. But he had a guy paint it to look like George Harrison's Strat that has got the Wapabula painted on it.
Yeah, it's still no Aerosmith.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys started probably in the 80s though, right?
Oh, yeah. Big time.
So, I mean, Aerosmith actually started in the 70s or 60s even.
See, and the funny thing about these guys, and the one thing that kind of tripped me out is I thought he had cool hair. She had cool hair. It was almost like they were definitely styling off of each other.
Yeah.
If you look at her, she's got short hair too. And it's funny because I thought this was the chick from that's married to Wayne Gretzky. Her name is Janet Jones. I thought that's who that was. But then I found out it wasn't her. I found out it was just a band from Sweden. And I thought it was cool. I like when girls play the guitar. I mean, it's fun. But then as their songs kept coming out, I heard their second one. It was called Dress for Success. I was kind of like, that one's all right. But then by Christmas time, I think Dangerous had come out, and they duoed back and forth where he sang first, then she sang a song, and then they were both together. And I thought, oh damn, that's good.
Yeah.
But 89, it was this band. I mean, this band dominated the charts that summer. I remember coming back. I spent my money just to buy the cassette single that had this song on it.
Yeah.
Instead of buying the whole album.
Buy the whole album for one song.
And the funny thing was, I didn't buy the album. I bought the stupid cassette single, which only had this song and another one on it. Thinking back on it, I bought two singles. I bought this one, and I bought the one that had the other song on it of theirs. And I looked at it, and I thought, well, one was $199, the other was $199. This was cheap back in the day. It's the same thing as iTunes.
I didn't know they actually sold single cassettes.
Yeah, they did. It's pretty funny. I mean, if you actually go look for them, they're pretty. It's what was cool was to collect them because they had the individual different pictures of the cover. But looking back on it, the album was like $7.99, and the two singles were like $1.99 a piece. I think it probably would have been better for me just to buy the whole CD or the cassette, anyways. So
part of me wants to think that the piano sort of calls people, and after you've heard guitars all the time, you need a good synth sound, or you need to change up your sound, and so I think that's one of the reasons why so many people are just playing electronic sounds now.
It's like, that's true, and it's like the best way to describe it is
because the piano was kind of what started it all,
Like the band.
The first guitar was the lute, so which came first, the piano or the lute?
Well, see, that's the thing. I think that's a good question, actually. So, and a lot of bands were using keyboards and crap like that back then. Duran Duran is famous for them. Okay, I'm going to stop this just for a second because this really cracks me up. I was talking about this the other night on my Facebook page. Now, this was another song that came out that summer, and the reason I had you watch it is because it was a really... First of all, it's kind of sentimental to me because my aunt who passed away, she used to tell me I look like this guy when I was younger, and I kind of is the best compliment you could get. Okay. But I think it's because of the way I styled my hair back then. But this song came out, and I remember because she used to watch a soap opera. Soap operas is terrible, and he just happened to be in it, and he played music, and they knew I loved music, so they kind of. She's like, oh, you should check this out. It won't be boring if you watch this. But I remember as a kid suffering through the day, being home, doing nothing, and having to watch soap operas with your grandparents because they don't want to do anything else. But the song came out that summer, as did the movie Dream a Little Dream, and both were really huge hits, and they're still really good. Like I just barely showed my daughter Dream a Little Dream, she loved it. Still one of my favorite movies to this day. But the reason that I brought these two songs back up is because they just happened to be out that year together. There was a lot of stuff that came out that year. I mean, like I was telling David, you know, you had Roy Orbison just come out again. You had
even like with the last song, it's like I wouldn't have gave that like a 10. I mean, I didn't like that a whole lot, but I would rather listen to that than some of the stuff coming out today. You know,
see, that's the objective here. That's what I definitely am having David listen to this.
I'd still let that play on the radio without changing the station.
Because
you know what I mean?
Because it was fun. All those songs really are never fun.
Yeah.
It's something to listen to. Now this is the interesting thing. Back in the day, before there was YouTube or MTV, for those of us who didn't have cable, on like 10 o'clock on Channel 2, NBC, they'd have what's called Friday Night Rock Blocks. Now, they did that, and they would show music videos. So when I found this video, I actually saw this play at the beginning.
From the hit movie Dream a Little Dream, Michael James, a remake of the mid-70s smash Rock On.
Oh, I think it's going to go any louder than that. So that Night Tracks, so whoever saved this had recorded it with that thing at the beginning.
Yeah, so recording the TV.
Which is kind of funny, see, because it says Night Tracks on it.
Yeah.
It said Night Tracks. Oh man, it's gonna spaz out. But I love that. It's electronic drums. This song never has that in it.
Well, in some bands now, they'll actually program their drums and make them sound real, you know.
See, the video shows clips from the movie. They used to do that a lot back then. I think that's cool when they do that.
Yeah.
Plus, it has Meredith Salinger in it. You can't beat that. She was like, I had a big crush on her when I was a kid. See, normally this song is played without all that. When you hear the song,
without the solo,
without any of the drums or anything, the song just goes dun 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 dun.
What do you mean normally?
The original version, because that's a cover, dude.
Okay.
That's one of the better covers, but the original just goes dun 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 dun. That's just the whole song, dun 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 dun. So, and then he's like, "Hey kids, rock and roll," and it just keeps going. So what Michael Damian did is he added the drums, added a little bit more guitar playing, and it actually sounds really good. Nobody really has put fillers in a song like this that I've ever seen. And that's kind of what I think helped sell the song, because the song is predominantly in that whole movie as background music.
Right.
And Corey Feldman. It just sounds smooth. That's what I like about it. You know what I mean? He should really play the guitar, because trying to dance while he's singing is not a good thing.
Yeah, I mean,
so there's Meredith Salinger.
I have nothing wrong with people using electronics and electric drums. It's just like, give us something good, damn it, you know?
And they have the Corey Feldman, or Corey Haim and Corey Feldman from back then, 80's kids that were in it for like 10 seconds. So they're in the video. What I liked about back then, and I still think people should do now, is now they just take movie clips and throw it in there with the people singing. But back in the day, they used to get the actors to do video shoots. And I thought, well, damn, that's pretty cool. I mean, I used to look forward to looking at those. So when the video came out and it didn't have anything from the movie, I'm like, what the hell? I was kind of disappointed. So I was like, come on. Seriously, you couldn't put any clips from the movie in that video? I'm trying to think. There was one that I saw that was that way, and I can't remember what it was. But, I mean, yeah, that's how dumb that is. But, you know, so what do you think of that song?
It's all right. It's not bad.
But I mean, if you heard it playing on the radio compared to something today, would you change the station?
I'd probably leave it. But I'm still, you know, I am more into rock than
course.
than some people, but
He doesn't want to admit he likes the Backstreet Boys.
yeah,
He likes Michael Damian's Rock On.
I'd leave it if I was on a cruise, you know, and if I couldn't find something better, I'd be all right, you know. I wouldn't completely shut the radio off at that point.
Okay, so we're down to our last song now. So
Close that one.
which one? This one here?
Yeah, close that.
See, there you go. iHeartRadio for Tic Tacs. That's way too much money to be spending for Tic Tacs. Okay, so down to our last video.
And if we ever make it out this, we're gonna have double ads, man.
I know, right? We're gonna need to get some money paid for this, showing all these YouTube ads.
No, we just gotta do like a video mix or whatever. So
Yeah. Okay, so to our last video, we're gonna do Dance Prince. Like I said, we chose a bunch of different ones that came out. Now this song, God, this song was all over the freaking place that summer, just because of the Batman movie. Now,
see, I never got into Prince.
yeah,
I really only like a couple of his songs. I mean, but he's definitely a good player. His music's definitely good. He wrote music for a lot of people.
yeah.
So he's legit, you know. But I mean, he's still not like
I mean, he doesn't
anywhere near like
what I think
my favorites.
What I think you're trying to say is you respect him for what he's done.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I think
gotta
everybody's
have
that way.
respect for the guy.
But you know, the funniest thing about this is my cousin bought this record. I don't think I ever will or ever want to buy it. It's cool and everything for them, but I'd rather listen to Purple Rain. But the funny thing about this is in the Batman movie, his music is in the whole thing, and it sounds so out of place now. When you watch the movie, it just sounds weird. It was perfect for back then, but watching Jack Nicholson dance around in Prince music is kind of funny. So this video is bizarre.
You're
but
talking about the scene where they're in the
When they're in the-
art.
yeah,
place.
gallery, and he's like painting all the paintings.
I didn't know that was Prince.
Yeah,
You know?
all the songs in that movie are Prince, but this one never gets played in the
That's a
movie.
darn good song.
So, from what I understand, he produced all of this by himself, but and it's good. It's good. It definitely served its purpose for them. But you know, he's right there with everything, doing it totally himself. Now this looks like a Tim Burton movie too. But have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't seen this.
He looks like the best Joker, really. That's Prince.
Oh, like alive in here.
So he's got tracks and stuff playing from the movie.
Yeah, that's cool.
This makes it even funnier because he hasn't seen this yet. See what I mean? You know, you used to not be able to see this because Prince had a thing that he wouldn't let anybody post any of his videos because he didn't want them out there for free. Now that he's passed away, I see him more. What do you think?
Wow.
So this was actually played on the radio, dude.
Go with the smile.
It's so funny because Kevin Smith was talking in an interview one time, and he said, I met Prince, we were there the whole time, and he was talking about how he wasn't like, you know, it was a weird experience for him going there to Paisley Park. And he said, I was there the whole time, and I didn't even get to hear Bad Dance. Like he wanted him to sing it.
Yeah, this is like a show more than a song,
Mm-hmm.
but it still requires instrumentation.
Yeah, this actually got played on the radio, dude. And it was huge. See, now my problem with this is you go from Purple Rain to just making this like I love the guitar playing here, like watch it. Completely underrated guitar player.
Oh, he's way good at guitar. If you've ever seen any of his live videos, you
Oh, yeah.
know.
But see, I mean, it's more like an instrumental than a song. I think
Exactly.
this was purely made for clubbing, but it still got played on the radio a lot. Like
That's crazy.
I don't think I ever remember a time not hearing this on the radio. The success of this movie, I think, primarily sold it. So you've never seen this before? Huh?
No, and when I was a kid, Batman was my favorite. I wore the costume for weeks at a time.
See, and what's funny here is who. What's funny is it says a lot of lines.
I used to freaking on the bus. I used to draw the bat sign, and people would make fun of me for it.
Oh, you're not alone. My buddy used to have the same thing. If
I was like, what? You guys don't think Batman?
You could never. I mean, people would never.
I used to write Batman in the window too. I remember that, and I get made fun of for that too.
Yeah, join the club, boy. Join the club. I remember getting teased for liking Star Wars. But you know, the funny thing about this song, this video, is it says lines from the movie, and it has a lot of great music, and it was a hit. But that's something that's memorable. Interestingly enough, nothing today sounds like that.
See, I didn't know he wrote a lot of.
Now
when I go back and watch the movie, it's going to change the entire soundtrack. It's going to change the entire experience for me.
Except for the Batman dun 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 dun. He didn't do that.
Right.
That was
the
Danny
original,
Elfman. Yeah.
sort of. Yeah.
Well, yeah, the music, the dun 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 dun, that stuff. Danny Elfman wrote that. Oddly enough, Danny Elfman was the lead singer for Oingo Boingo. He's the one that wrote all that music. So, but yeah, I mean, so that basically rounds up our 30-year movie critique, or not movie critique, song critique. That's music that was around 30 years ago. So, if that stuff was released today, do you think it would fare pretty damn good against what's out there today?
The 80s has a certain sound to it, you know. A lot of what's selling today is rap, and you hardly see any rock on the charts.
Imagine Dragons.
It's somebody needs to bring rock and roll back in.
I think David's right, because you may hear rock bands play, but not
at some
rock
point
and roll.
here. There's got to be a band that explodes and really catches people's ears, and just makes it happen. Makes it happen for a lot of other bands.
No.
It's kind of what happened with Nirvana. They opened up the door for a lot of bands.
Yeah, that's true. And then everybody started running to Seattle and going, "Hey, we need those Seattle bands."
And not just grunge bands either. After the grunge bands came the punk bands. More punk bands started coming out. Creed came out.
White Zombie.
Bands like that. Then you had the
Rage
early
Against the Machine.
2000s, and you had, and that's where rock started to kind of die off the main charts. And go. I think it's because music wanted to go, or the mainstream wanted to go more electronic, or there was more people wanted to listen to electronic, or more people were buying electronic because everything was being everything got switched to internet. So somehow the keyboard dominating